All right, welcome everyone to another deep dive. Today we're going to help get you ready for your next interview.
Specifically, a router operator interview.
Yes, and we have some awesome resources from RoleCatcher. We've got career guides and sample interview questions.
And some info on their AI platform.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to be unpacking today. We're not just going for answers, we're going for that deeper understanding.
That makes you stand out as a candidate.
Exactly.
It's like, anyone can memorize facts and figures and answers.
Right.
But showing that you've thought through the why behind the work,
Yeah.
that's what's going to impress those interviewers.
So let's dive right in. I have a whole list of sample interview questions that you sent over from RoleCatcher.
Okay.
And there's 10 of them. So let's imagine we're in the interview room. First question comes flying at you.
Okay.
Can you explain your experience working with routers?
Ooh, okay. This is your chance to not just, talk about your experience, but really showcase the depth of your understanding.
Right.
So don't just list off jobs where you've used a router.
Right.
Instead, talk about the types of routers you've worked with. Plunge routers, fixed base routers, maybe even CNC routers if you have experience with those.
Oh, yeah.
Mention different bits and cutters you're familiar with.
Right.
And highlight any specific projects where maybe you faced a unique challenge and how you overcame it.
So it's about painting that picture, like showing them you really
Yeah.
do your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what about this? What if they follow up with, what types of materials have you routed in the past?
Okay, so this is them kind of digging a little deeper, seeing how well-rounded your experience is.
Yeah.
So this is where you mention, the range of materials you've worked with.
Yeah.
Wood, composites, aluminum, plastics, maybe even foam.
Wow.
If you've worked with a particularly challenging material, this is a good opportunity to explain briefly how you adjust your technique to achieve that desired result.
Yeah. It's almost like saying, I've not only used them, I've used them on a variety of different things.
Yeah.
I've mastered them. I'm a master. All right, next question. How do you ensure the accuracy of your work when operating a router? I'm guessing this is about more than just saying, I'm really careful.
Absolutely. It's all about showcasing your meticulous approach and attention to detail.
Okay.
So walk them through your process. How do you double check measurements?
Okay.
Do you use jigs and fixtures for consistency? Maybe even how you regularly calibrate your equipment. If you have a specific example of a time when you caught a potential error
Yeah.
before it became a problem, that really demonstrates that commitment to quality.
Right, okay. And then what about when things don't go as planned? Question 4. How do you troubleshoot common router problems?
Yes. So this is all about, assessing your problem-solving skills under pressure.
Yeah.
Can you think logically and methodically when you're faced with a challenge? So describe your troubleshooting process step by step.
Okay.
Maybe you start by checking the power supply.
Yep.
Then you move on to inspecting the router bits. Right. And finally, you examine the material itself. If you can recall a specific instance where you successfully diagnosed and solved a particularly tricky problem, that adds a lot of weight to your answer.
It's really showing them that you're not just like a button pusher. You're
Exactly.
a problem solver.
You're thinking critically about the work.
Okay, so this next one seems pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain how you maintain and clean a router? But I'm sensing there's more to it than meets the eye.
Definitely. This goes beyond just keeping things tidy.
Right.
It's about demonstrating that you understand the link between proper maintenance and both safety and the longevity of the equipment.
Yes, okay.
So you talk about your regular cleaning routines, how you remove dust and debris to prevent hazards and ensure that optimal performance.
Right.
Mention lubricating moving parts to reduce wear and tear.
Right.
And highlight how you inspect the router for signs of damage.
So it's like saying, I don't just use it, I take care of it so it takes care of the work. Okay. Time for a bit more of a technical one. Can you explain the difference between a plunge router and a fixed base router?
Okay, so this is where you're really going to showcase your knowledge of different router types.
Okay.
And their applications. So clearly explain the key distinctions. A plunge router allows you to lower the bit into the material.
Right.
Ideal for grooves and dados. Fixed base router has a fixed depth of cut, making it better for edging and trimming.
Right.
And then offer examples of when you'd choose each type for specific tasks.
So again, it's not just about knowing
Right.
the terms, but
But
knowing
don't apply them.
how to use it practically.
Yeah.
Okay, this next one seems like it's a chance to set yourself apart. Can you explain how you set up a router for a specific job? Like, walk me through that process. It seems like there's a lot of, um,
Yeah.
like, attention to detail and really understanding what's going on here.
Absolutely. This is where you can really walk them through your step-by-step approach,
Okay.
highlighting your attention to detail and your ability to adapt to different situations.
Right.
So imagine they're like, okay, here's the project, go.
Yeah.
What's the first thing you're doing?
First thing I'm doing is I am carefully examining that blueprint. I want to understand the desired outcome, the tolerances, any specific joinery involved.
Okay.
It's about seeing the big picture, not just following lines on paper.
Yeah.
Then I would select the appropriate router bit for the job.
Yeah.
There's hundreds of router bits out there, each one designed for a specific purpose.
Right. It's like a chef choosing the right knife for the right
Exactly.
ingredient. Okay. So you've got the blueprint, you've got the bit. What are you doing next?
Next, I would set the depth of cut,
Okay.
making sure it's appropriate for the material thickness, taking into account whether multiple passes are needed. Thicker materials often require multiple passes to prevent strain on the router and ensure a clean, accurate cut.
So it's all that attention to detail. That's what separates the pros from the amateurs.
Yes.
What else is super important when you're setting it up? Adjusting the speed of the router. This needs to be tailored to the material you're cutting and the diameter of the bit you're using.
Right.
And of course, before we even touch the power button,
Right.
safety is paramount. Double checking that the router is securely clamped down and that the workpiece is properly supported, non-negotiable.
Safety first, always.
Always.
And speaking of safety, this next question really digs into, what happens when things go wrong? Can you describe a time when you had to troubleshoot a complex router problem?
Okay, so this is where you showcase those analytical skills, resourcefulness, and ability to stay calm under pressure.
Right.
So you really want to start by setting the scene. Describe the project you were working on, the type of router you were using, and that specific problem that arose. You really want to paint that picture for the interviewer.
It's like you're taking them right back to that moment with you.
Yes.
So how would you approach describing the actual troubleshooting?
I would detail the initial symptoms, the potential causes I considered, and the steps I took to isolate the problem. Did I consult the router's manual? Did I research online forums? Maybe I sought guidance from a more experienced colleague. It's about demonstrating that you're resourceful and know where to find information.
Right. And that you take initiative to
Yes.
to find a solution.
Exactly.
Okay, so then what about that aha moment when you finally figure it out?
Yes. So that's where you explain the root cause of the problem, the repairs or adjustments you made, and how you prevented the issue from recurring in the future. Even more importantly, I would emphasize what I learned from that experience.
Yeah.
Because even the most frustrating situations can teach us valuable lessons.
It's all about taking that and turning it into a learning opportunity.
Exactly.
Okay, well, I think it's time that we shifted gears a little bit and talked about how RoleCatcher's AI platform can really give you an edge
Yes,
in your interview prep. It sounds like it goes way beyond just practicing your answers.
it absolutely does. RoleCatcher's AI can analyze the specific job description you're targeting
Okay.
and identify those key skills and keywords that are most important to the employer.
So it's like giving you a personalized
Roadmap
Yeah.
to success, highlighting the areas that you really need to emphasize.
Tell me a little bit more about how that works. Like, what do we...
So their CV and resume builder is a game changer. It helps tailor your resume to highlight those specific skills,
Okay.
making sure you get past those automated applicant tracking systems that so many companies use these days.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to practicing your answers, they have an AI-powered interview practice tool that provides personalized feedback. So you can really refine your communication style
Oh, wow.
and tailor your responses to the specific job you're applying for.
It's like having a virtual interview coach in your pocket.
Exactly.
What kind of feedback does the AI give?
So it can analyze your answers,
Yeah.
looking for areas where you can improve clarity, conciseness, impact. And it can even suggest ways to tailor your responses to better align with the job description's keywords and requirements.
Wow.
And the best part, RoleCatcher even offers a video practice feature where you can record yourself answering interview questions.
Wow.
And get AI-powered feedback on your body language, your pacing, your overall presentation.
That's amazing. It's like having a stylist for your interview. for your performance.
Making sure you present yourself in the best possible light, both on paper and in person.
I love that.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we've covered a lot. We've talked about some really great questions to get ready for your router operator interview. We've talked about this amazing AI
Yes.
platform. What do you think we should tackle next?
Well, I think we should maybe dive into some more of those interview questions. We've still got a few more to go.
Yes, we do.
And then, we can always circle back and talk a little bit more about the RoleCatcher platform and some of the other features that might be relevant
Yes, let's do that.
to our listeners.
All right, sounds good. So we'll be right back after a quick break.
All right, so picking up where we left off with those interview questions, this next one gets a little more technical. Can you explain your experience working with CNC routers?
Ah, CNC routers. The cutting edge of precision and automation. I have to admit, it sounds a little intimidating, but I bet you can break it down for us.
Of course. So CNC routers are computer controlled, which offers a level of accuracy and repeatability that you just can't achieve manually. If you have experience with them, this is your chance to shine. Talk about the specific software you've used, the types of CNC machines you're familiar with, and the complexity of the projects you've tackled. Did you program the machines yourself? Were you involved in troubleshooting any software or mechanical issues? Details like these really showcase your expertise.
Okay, that makes sense. What if our listeners like CNC? Uh-oh, that's beyond my experience. How do they handle that in an interview?
Honesty is key, but also show that you're eager to learn. You can say something like, while I haven't worked directly with CNC routers yet, I'm fascinated by the technology and confident in my ability to learn new systems quickly. I've been researching CNC programming, and I'm excited about the possibilities it offers. You could even mention any transferable skills you have, like experience with other computer-controlled equipment or a strong understanding of CAD software.
So turning a potential weakness into an opportunity for growth. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's imagine the interviewer throws you a curveball. How do you prioritize tasks when operating multiple routers at the same time? That just sounds stressful to me.
It can be, but with the right approach, it becomes a showcase for your organizational skills and efficiency. Start by describing your mental checklist. What factors determine your priorities? Deadlines, material availability, complexity of the cuts, potential bottlenecks in the workflow. Do you utilize any specific tools or methods like to-do lists or project management apps, maybe even color coding systems to stay organized?
Oh, that's smart. It's like a high-stakes game of router Tetris.
Exactly. But sometimes, even with the best planning, things go wrong. This next question explores that. How would you handle a situation where a router broke down during a job?
Okay, so this is where you demonstrate that you can stay calm under pressure and take decisive action. First, acknowledge the seriousness of a breakdown. It can literally bring production to a halt. Then, outline your steps. Assess the situation. Attempt some minor troubleshooting if appropriate, contact maintenance if necessary, and take steps to minimize the disruption to the workflow. Can you reallocate tasks to other routers? Is there a way to adjust the production schedule to accommodate the downtime?
It's all about being proactive and showing that you can think on your feet.
Exactly.
And let's be real, sometimes those breakdowns can lead to some really head-scratching technical challenges. Let's jump back to question 7, which we skipped over earlier. Can you describe a time when you had to troubleshoot a complex router problem? All right, this is where you tell a compelling story that highlights your analytical skills, your resourcefulness, and your ability to learn from mistakes. Remember, it's not just about describing the problem, it's about how you tackled it. So set the scene for the interviewer. What project were you working on? What type of router were you using? What was the specific issue? Then walk them through your troubleshooting process. The potential causes you considered, the steps you took, the resources you consulted, and the solution you ultimately found.
So it's about painting a picture of yourself as a problem solver who doesn't give up easily.
Exactly.
Now, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier about RoleCatcher's AI platform and its feedback on practice answers. How can that help someone tailor their responses for specific job roles?
RoleCatcher's AI goes beyond generic feedback. It analyzes the specific job description you're targeting and identifies keywords and skills that are most important to that specific employer. When you practice your answers using their platform, the AI will actually assess how well you're incorporating those keywords and whether you're effectively highlighting the skills they're looking for.
So it's like having an insider's guide to the employer's expectations. It's helping you speak their language.
Exactly. And it goes even deeper. Let's say the job description emphasizes experience with a specific type of router or material. RoleCatcher's AI will pick up on that and suggest ways to weave that experience into your answers, even if it wasn't explicitly mentioned in the original question.
It's like having a personalized cheat sheet for impressing that specific interviewer. I'm really starting to see why this AI platform is such a valuable tool. Now, before we wrap up this deep dive into interview prep, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Your career as a router operator. What are the different stages you might encounter as you progress in this field?
Think of it like a journey, starting with the entry level. This is where you're building your foundation, learning the basics, working under the guidance of more experienced operators. You're demonstrating your reliability, your willingness to learn, and your attention to detail.
So it's like an apprenticeship, absorbing all that knowledge and experience.
Exactly.
What comes next on this career path?
As you gain confidence and competence, you'll likely move into a junior router operator role. Here, you're taking on more responsibility, working independently on more complex projects. You're expected to troubleshoot minor issues, anticipate potential problems, and maybe even contribute ideas for improving efficiency.
It's like graduating from driver's ed to hitting the open road.
Exactly.
More freedom, but also more responsibility. So you've mastered the basics, you've proven yourself as a junior operator. What's the next step up?
The natural progression is to become a senior router operator. Now you're not just operating the machines, you're mentoring others, ensuring quality control, and maybe even overseeing a team of junior operators. You're the go-to person for solving those tricky problems and making sure production runs smoothly.
You're like the captain of the routing ship, guiding the crew and navigating those challenging waters. Is that the pinnacle of the router operator career path?
Not necessarily. For those with a passion for leadership and a knack for strategic thinking, there's the lead router operator role. They're responsible for developing standard operating procedures, implementing new technologies, and ensuring the entire team is operating at peak efficiency.
So it sounds like a role that requires a mix of technical expertise and leadership finesse. What kind of person thrives as a lead router operator?
Someone who not only understands the intricacies of the machines, but also sees the bigger picture of the entire production process. They can anticipate problems before they arise, implement solutions effectively, and motivate their team to achieve ambitious goals.
So it's a leadership role that demands a deep understanding of both the technical and the human elements of the work. Is there anything beyond the lead router operator level?
Yes, for those who truly dedicate themselves to mastering the craft, there's the role of master router operator. These are the gurus, the mentors, the problem solvers extraordinaire. They're constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible with routing technology, experimenting with new materials and techniques, and sharing their knowledge with the next generation of operators.
They're like the Jedi Masters of the routing world,
Exactly.
passing on their wisdom and skills.
Yeah.
It's inspiring to see such a clear path for growth and development within this field.
It is, and it's important to remember that the world of manufacturing is constantly evolving. New technologies are emerging, processes are becoming more automated, and the demand for highly skilled operators who can adapt and thrive in this dynamic environment is only going to increase.
So it's a career with a bright future, especially for those who embrace continuous learning and are excited about pushing the boundaries of what's possible with routing technology. I think we've covered a lot of ground today, from the nitty-gritty of interview prep to the broader landscape of a career as a router operator. But before we wrap things up, I want to circle back to RoleCatcher's AI platform one last time. We've talked about its CV resume builder and its interview practice tool, but are there any other features that might be helpful for someone preparing for a router operator interview?
Absolutely. One feature that's particularly valuable is their salary data analysis tool. It allows you to research average salaries for router operator positions in your area based on experience level, industry, and even specific companies. This information can help you negotiate a fair salary when you land that job offer.
So it's not just about getting the job, it's about getting the right job at the right compensation. That's smart.
Exactly. And another feature I want to highlight is their company insights section. It provides in-depth profiles of companies that are currently hiring router operators, giving you valuable information about their culture, values, and growth opportunities. This can help you determine whether a company is a good fit for you, even before you step into the interview room.
It's like having a secret weapon for researching potential employers.
Exactly.
Okay, I think we've truly unpacked everything a future router operator needs to know to not only ace that interview, but also launch a successful and fulfilling career. Any final words of wisdom for our listener before we wrap up this deep dive?
Remember, a successful career is built on a foundation of continuous learning and growth. The manufacturing world is constantly evolving, so stay curious, embrace new technologies, and never stop honing your skills.
And don't forget, you have valuable resources at your fingertips with RoleCatcher's AI platform. Utilize their tools, practice your answers, research those companies, and go into that interview with confidence. We're rooting for you.
Absolutely. Best of luck on your journey. And, having that information ahead of time can really give you an advantage.
Yeah, for sure. So speaking of advantage, we've talked a lot about RoleCatcher's AI, but I'd love to, kind of shift gears back to the actual interview for a minute and think about some of those questions that might make people feel a little bit nervous.
Sure.
So one that comes to mind is, when they ask about salary expectations.
Oh, yeah.
It can feel a bit awkward to talk about money,
It can.
but it's such an important part
It is.
of the process. So how do you suggest people approach that question?
Well, this is where RoleCatcher's salary data analysis tool can be incredibly helpful.
Okay.
It allows you to research average salaries for rudder operator positions in your area based on experience level, industry, and even specific companies.
So it takes away some of the guesswork.
Exactly. When you're armed with that data, you can confidently answer the salary question in a way that reflects your worth and aligns with industry standards.
It's about knowing your value and being able to articulate it.
Exactly.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today, from those specific interview questions to the bigger picture of what a career as a router operator can look like. And we've talked about those incredible resources that RoleCatcher offers. So to our listener out there, thanks for coming along on this deep dive with us.
Absolutely. We hope you found it helpful as you prepare for your upcoming interviews.
Remember, the world of manufacturing is full of opportunities for those who are skilled and passionate about their craft.
So go out there and impress those interviewers.
And land that dream job. We're rooting for you. Until next time, happy routing.